scary as hell. Scary as hell. But from that place, you will be so much clearer on what actually needs to change, because I can guarantee it's probably not your job. It's probably not those things that you are assuming would bring happiness, like I spoke of earlier. Probably a lot of the things that need to change is the way that we see things, how we're processing things, who we're speaking to about those things. Going there, exploring those emotions, naming those emotions. In the panel discussion just now, we'll elaborate a bit more on the naming emotions specifically. But to leave you with a thought, Nelson Mandela, there's a quote by Nelson Mandela that says, "There is no passion found in playing small." And if I can encourage you anything, it's, friends, go out today and create those rainbows. The storm might not end. It might not. And the rainbow might not be guaranteed, but you can create it. You can create it for you.
Anybody heard of quiet quitting? You have? Oh, okay. It's just me, the uninformed one. Please just, expand more on what quiet quitting is about. Give us some insight on what it looks like in action and what's happening under the surface.
Yeah, sure. So quiet quitting, I think, I hope that you weren't all saying you understand it because you feel like it's very much your identity. But the quiet quitting concept was sort of founded last year, and it was a previous recruiter who had become a coach who released this term in America. And quiet quitting is simply saying that you are remaining in the workforce and perhaps can't quit, but are putting in the bare minimum. And so I think for me, I actually read a quote that I wanted to read on this topic. So number one, quiet quitting isn't new. It's just an old concept that's got a new name. I think we've all numbed forever. It's just been maybe a bit more like here, there, depending on what you were facing. I think now it's just as a world, we've all entered this space where emotions are more difficult than they've ever been before. And maybe a lot of us don't know what to do with that. We don't know what tools we could actually access. And so in turn, we've learned to numb, which is this. That's what quiet quitting really is. It's learning to numb. It's saying, if I don't put in too much work, well, then I can't get stressed. And yeah, I read this. It said, quiet quitting isn't just about quitting your job. It's a step towards quitting your life.
Sure.
No more quiet quitters in the room. But you know what? I love it because I think, that the truth is when you numb some emotions, you numb all emotions, your brain doesn't know the difference. And so this will happen. So yes, you might think it's just at work, but you'll find that you're pulling that same attitude into home and that sort of depressive behavior that's going on in your workplace. And there are lots of nods in the room. And I have no doubt that those watching will feel the same as what you're actually pulling back home too. And so your kids are getting that as well, and your spouse and your dogs and whoever else is in that space. And that's where I think with this quiet quitting, more than anything, it would be so helpful, guys, to try and unpack your emotions, to get real. And if you can't put a name to it, as I say to all my clients, I make them, before we do anything further, I make them Google a list of 30 emotions. And write it down, and we laugh. But you probably didn't know there were 30. Why? Because you've just pulled them all, and at the end of the day, you say it's been a long day, it's been a bad day. But actually, if you were to connect in the various moments throughout your day with your emotions, simple as a break to the loo, could be emotion, it could be a moment of doing that. Well, do you know what? You'd be able to ask yourself a powerful question and say, so what should I do with this? Or what was the thought behind this that led to this emotion? And do I even believe that?